the apartment that wouldn't stay quiet. Savannah never believed in the paranormal. Not seriously, at least. She liked spooky videos the way most people do, late at night, lights off, volume low, but she always assumed there was a logical explanation hiding behind every shadow. That belief started to erode the first month she moved into her new apartment. At first, it was subtle. The kind of things you explain away, without much effort. A faint sound in the hallway. A soft thud from the other side of the room. Old buildings make noise, she told herself. Pipes shift. Floors settle. Nothing unusual. Then the footsteps started. They came late at night, always after midnight, when the rest of the building had gone quiet. Slow pacing sounds that moved from one end of her bedroom to the other. Not rushed. Not frantic. Just steady, deliberate steps. The first time it happened, Savannah sat upright in bed, heart pounding, listening as the sound stopped right beside her dresser. She waited for a neighbor to cough, for an elevator to ding, for anything that would explain it. Nothing came. The footsteps stopped abruptly, as if whoever, or whatever, had reached its destination. The next morning, she laughed it off. Stress, she decided. A new place, unfamiliar noises. But the nights that followed made that explanation harder to believe. Objects began disappearing. Her phone charger vanished from her desk, only to reappear days later folded neatly on her nightstand. A book she swore she left on the couch showed up inside her closet. The closet door itself became a problem soon after. Savannah started closing it every night, double-checking before bed. Yet every morning, she'd wake up to find it cracked open just enough to see darkness inside. The hinge never squeaked. The door never slammed. It opened slowly, silently, like it didn't want to be noticed. The most unsettling part wasn't the movement. It was the feeling. Whenever she lay down to sleep, she felt it immediately. That heavy awareness that someone was standing right next to her bed, not watching from a distance, close enough that if she reached out, her hand would brush against something warm. Or cold. She never tested it. Her cat, Luna, noticed it too. Luna began refusing to sleep at the foot of the bed. Instead, she'd sit upright, ears flattened, staring at empty corners of the room. Sometimes she'd hiss softly. Other times she'd leap away, as if something invisible had brushed past her. Savannah told herself animals were weird. Until the night, she woke up unable to breathe. She opened her eyes, heart racing, chest locked in place. A crushing pressure pinned her down, like something heavy had climbed onto her ribcage. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. She couldn't move, couldn't turn her head. The air felt thick, almost buzzing. And then, just as suddenly as it began, the pressure lifted. Savannah gasped for air and bolted upright. The room was empty. No shadows. No movement. Luna was crouched near the door, fur puffed out, eyes locked on the bed like she'd seen something Savannah hadn't. That was the night Savannah stopped sleeping. Days later, something happened that pushed her past fear and into panic. She was lying awake in the dark when she heard her own voice call out softly, "Luna, here, kitty." It came from the corner of the room. Savannah froze. Her mouth hadn't moved. Her throat hadn't made a sound. Yet the voice was unmistakably hers. Same tone. Same cadence. Same gentle call she used every night. Luna reacted instantly, ears twitching toward the sound before she backed away, low growl rumbling from her chest. Savannah screamed. Convinced she was losing her grip on reality, she did the only thing she could think of. She bought cameras. She placed one facing her bed, another aimed at the closet, a third covering the main living area. If something was happening, she needed proof. For herself, more than anyone else. What the cameras captured over the following weeks shattered any remaining sense of comfort. Small objects sliding across flat surfaces, without explanation. The blanket lifting slightly, as if something crawled beneath it while she slept. Luna freezing mid-step, eyes tracking something invisible as it moved through the room. One night, Savannah jolted awake as her foot was tugged, slowly, deliberately, toward the edge of the bed. She tried everything. She blessed the room. Placed crosses near the doors. burned cleansing herbs until the air felt heavy and bitter. She prayed aloud, whispered, cried. Nothing changed. Whatever shared the apartment with her didn't react, didn't retreat, didn't escalate either. It simply stayed. Now, exhausted and terrified, Savannah shared the footage online, hoping anyone, might recognize what she was dealing with. Because at this point, she wasn't asking out of curiosity. She was asking because she was afraid of what might happen next. And somewhere beyond Savannah's apartment, in places far older and far darker, other people were discovering the same unsettling truth. Some presences don't announce themselves loudly. They wait. Places that remember. Savannah wasn't the only one losing sleep. As her footage spread online, messages flooded in from strangers who recognized the signs all too well. Different homes, different cities, same patterns. Objects moving just enough to be noticed. Animals reacting before humans did. And that crushing weight on the chest that always seemed to come when the lights were off and the mind was vulnerable. One message stood out. It came from a man named Ethan, a former paranormal investigator who hadn't touched his equipment in years. He told Savannah something she hadn't considered yet. Sometimes it isn't the person who's haunted. Sometimes it's the place. Ethan explained that certain locations don't forget what happens inside them. Trauma, death, grief. Those emotions can linger like residue. Most of the time, they fade. But in older structures, especially ones tied to final moments, the energy can stay active, replaying itself again and again. He sent her a clip to prove his point. It was recorded inside an abandoned crematorium. The video showed Ethan walking slowly through a long concrete corridor, his flashlight cutting through the dust-heavy air. Even through the screen, the place felt wrong. The silence wasn't empty. It felt crowded. Every step echoed too loudly, as if the building was listening. Ethan whispered as he explained that crematoriums carried a different weight than cemeteries. Cemeteries were places of rest. Crematoriums were places of transition. Bodies arrived. Families cried. Final goodbyes were made. And then something irreversible happened. In older facilities, Ethan said, workers used to report strange activity late at night. Metal trays shifting when no one was near them. Furnace doors slamming shut on their own. Footsteps pacing just outside rooms that were supposed to be empty. In the clip, a loud metallic scrape echoed from somewhere ahead. Ethan stopped walking. The sound came again.
Closer this time.
He didn't run.
But his voice changed.
The calm curiosity vanished, replaced by something raw and instinctive. That's not an animal, he whispered. He left soon after. Savannah couldn't stop thinking about what Ethan said. Her apartment wasn't old enough to be historic. No tragic events were listed when she signed the lease. But that didn't mean nothing had happened there. Buildings don't advertise their pasts. And then another video surfaced. This one featured a mother named Christy and her young son. At first, the clip seemed harmless. A parent recording a casual moment. But then the child froze mid-sentence. His eyes locked onto a specific point in the dining room. He didn't blink. Didn't react when his mother called his name. He pointed. "What do you see?" Christy asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "The hat," her son replied calmly. There was no hat. He kept pointing, describing something he insisted was there. Someone holding it. Standing exactly where a framed picture hung on the wall. A picture that had been there for months, without ever bothering him. Children, viewers said, are more sensitive. Their minds aren't trained to ignore what doesn't make sense yet. They notice things adults filter out. Savannah remembered Luna's reactions. The way her cat tracked movement she couldn't see. The way animals reacted before anything visible happened. Then came the hospital video. A man leaving late at night heard a loud bang and went to investigate. The area was empty. When he returned to his car, something was sitting in the back seat. The moment he noticed it, his entire body reacted. You could see it in the way his arm trembled as he lifted the camera. The hair on his skin stood straight up. Whatever it was moved, ducked out of view, before he even reached the door. Hospitals, like crematoriums, were places where emotions ran high.
Fear, pain,
Confusion. Final moments that didn't always feel finished. Savannah noticed the pattern forming. It wasn't random chaos. These encounters weren't loud poltergeist-style hauntings meant to shock. They were quiet,
Calculated.
observant. Then came the clip that made her blood run cold. A woman alone in her house heard a voice call out softly, "Are you there, honey? Open the door for mommy." The woman didn't respond. She stayed silent. Viewers praised her instinct. Because mimics, according to countless reports, relied on one thing: engagement. They copied voices people trusted. Parents, partners, children. The moment you answered, you acknowledged them. Savannah thought back to the night she heard her own voice calling Luna. She had screamed. She had reacted. That night, the activity intensified. The realization sat heavy in her chest. What if the thing in her apartment wasn't tied to her specifically, but to the space itself? What if it had been waiting, dormant, until someone noticed it? Her cameras kept recording, and one night, while reviewing footage, Savannah noticed something she'd missed before. In several clips, moments before objects moved or the blanket shifted, the audio picked up a faint sound. 3 soft knocks. Not loud, not aggressive, intentional, and always followed by movement. Savannah stared at the screen, heart pounding. If knocking was a form of communication, then something in her apartment wasn't just present. It was trying to interact. And if that was true, ignoring it might not be enough anymore. When something answers back, Savannah stopped sleeping in her bedroom. She dragged her mattress into the living room, positioned it under the camera, and left every light on. Not because it helped, but because darkness no longer felt like the absence of light. It felt occupied. The knocking continued. 3 soft taps. Always spaced evenly. Always followed by something small shifting just out of frame. A book nudged. A pillow creased, as if pressed by invisible weight. Luna refused to enter the room anymore. She sat at the doorway, rigid, eyes tracking movement Savannah couldn't see. Savannah followed the advice pouring in from the comments. Some people told her to confront it. Others warned her never to speak aloud again. A few insisted she leave immediately, that staying only made whatever it was more comfortable. But one message cut through the noise. It was short, blunt. Stop treating it like a ghost. Start treating it like something listening. That night, Savannah tried something different. She didn't pray, didn't cleanse,
Didn't speak.
she watched. At 2:14 a.m., the knocks came. 3 taps. The living room camera flickered, not fully, just enough to blur the image for a split second. When it stabilized, the blanket over Savannah's legs was indented, like someone had pressed a knee into it and then slowly lifted away. Her heart raced, but she didn't move. Then came the sound. A whisper. Barely audible. Not words, more like breath shaped into sound. The audio spiked, then cut to silence. Savannah replayed the clip again and again until she noticed something terrifying. The whisper wasn't random. It matched the cadence of her breathing. That was the moment she understood. This wasn't something replaying old energy. It wasn't residual. It wasn't stuck in the past. It was learning. The next day, Savannah contacted her landlord and demanded to know the apartment's history. At first, he brushed her off. Then, she mentioned the footage. That changed his tone. The building, he admitted, had been renovated multiple times. Before the apartments, it had been part of a medical overflow facility decades earlier. Temporary rooms. Short stays. People who arrived and didn't always leave. No official deaths listed. No records kept properly. Loose ends. That night, Savannah packed a bag. She didn't announce she was leaving. She didn't say goodbye. She turned off the lights, grabbed Luna, and walked out without looking back. For 2 days, nothing happened. No footsteps. No pressure. No whispers. Savannah slept for the first time in weeks. Then, on the 3rd night, the notification appeared on her phone. Living room camera, motion detected. She wasn't home. Her stomach dropped as she opened the app. The footage showed the empty apartment. Lights off. Furniture exactly where she left it. Then, slowly, the closet door in the bedroom began to open. No breeze. No sound. It stopped halfway. 3 knocks echoed through the audio. The camera feed glitched violently, static tearing across the screen. When the image returned, something was standing in front of the camera. Not fully formed, not solid, but tall. Too tall. Its outline shifted like it couldn't decide on a shape. The face, if it had one, never came into focus. But Savannah could hear it breathing.
Slow.
Measured. Familiar. Then it spoke. In her voice. "Savannah," it whispered. The feed cut out. Savannah never went back. The landlord reported that new tenants didn't last long. Complaints came in within weeks. Footsteps. Moving objects. A feeling of being watched. One tenant claimed they heard their own voice calling from the bathroom while they stood in the kitchen. The apartment was listed again. And again. Online, Savannah stopped posting updates. Her last message was short. "It didn't follow me. It stayed. But it knows me now." Some viewers believe she escaped just in time. Others think acknowledging it, even through cameras, was enough to create a connection that never fully breaks. Because places don't just remember what happens inside them. Sometimes they remember who noticed. And somewhere, in a quiet apartment with a door that won't stay closed, something is still knocking. 3 times. Waiting for an answer.